Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm gonna be testing the Yakuza franchise or the Like a Dragon franchise on the Steam Deck. So we got Yakuza 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Like a Dragon Ishin, and Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who raised his name. So this is the franchise on Steam. There's also a Yakuza game coming, a Like a Dragon game coming in a couple weeks called Infinite Wealth, so I'll be testing that one once it releases. But for now, let's test the entire franchise. There's a lot of content here, so let's get into it. First of all, Yakuza 0, so 800p, no VSync in this case, graphics quality, customized. There's super sampling and unfortunately no TAA, only FXAA. I lower shadows to high and geometry to high to lower the CPU's requirements. There's an FOV slider. You can also scale the UI and change the frame rate for the cutscenes to be unlocked. So we don't apply the settings, we already did. And first I'll show you unlock frame rates. Just because I know that people have Steam Decks OLED and those are 90 Hz. So in this section I'll show you trying to get 90 Hz as possible. In this case, yeah, it's completely doable. So don't worry about it. This is a game from the PS3 era. On the West it released on PS4. But in Japan it also came out on the PlayStation 3. So yeah. Hang on, I gotta heal. I forgot. There we go. So yeah, 90 Hz, completely fine, not an issue at all. Of course, if you have a LCD Steam Deck, make sure that you lock the frame rate to 60, don't waste battery for nothing. So since this one is super easy to run, let's jump into handheld right now. I'll show you how it looks on the smaller screen. Alright guys, we're back, now in handheld. And now it's locked to 60 because I locked it using the Steam Deck's 60 option. And that should give you like 3 hours of battery or more. Now we're at 77% battery, so we got like 2 hours. And by logging into 60, you actually save on battery, so let's use out of the CPU and GPU. And again, very light game from the PS3 era, at least in Japan. Then it came on PS4. On PS4 is 60 FPS at a higher resolution than this, of course. But still, this was a side quest I ran into. Well, we tell a police officer how to do his job. Alright, we're back into the open city. Running around the city was usually what dropped frames when I was out in 90 FPS. That's why the draw distance is on high instead of ultra. Otherwise, you're going to drop frames below 90. Again, for Steam Deck OLED users. So yeah. I think it's one of those perfect games for Steam Deck. A lot to do. You can just pause and then resume later by locking the Steam Deck. And it's fluid AF on the smaller screen at 60 FPS even. So yeah, lots of hours of entertainment. Okay. I'll beat this and we jump into the next one. There we go. Let's jump into the next one. Now we're checking out Yakuza Kiwami 1. So this is the first Yakuza game, but remade with the same engine as Yakuza 0. So 800p. Same settings as Yakuza 0. High shadows and geometry. Increase the FOV a little bit, and these two are on ultra. And first, again, unlock frame rates, just like on Yakuza 0. So if you have an OLED Steam Deck, you can play at 90 Hz just fine. which is always good. And this one I think came out before Yakuza 0 in real life. And again, this one is on PlayStation 4. Don't remember if this came out on PlayStation 3. So yeah, this one also runs completely fine. Yeah, these are not people that are going to fight me. And what is cool about this one, also has screen space reflections on puddles. So yeah, I'm running around looking for a fight. This is going to happen eventually. So yeah. Okay, found people to fight with. The goons. Yeah, completely fine. He'll get up later. Alright, let's swap into handheld so you can see how it looks on the smaller screen, at least on the non-OLED version. So again, my advice for the LCD Steam Deck, another sub-story. So as I was saying, the LCD Steam Deck is 60 Hz, so just log it to 60, save on battery. Seems to be using more battery in comparison to Yakuza 0. Oh good, I cannot skip this. Hold up, one sec. Alright, after the interruption of side quest, let's see if we can find people to fight with. Here. Oh yeah. Boom. Jesus. Yeah, he's not walking anytime soon. Okay, that was on fire. Anyway, let's jump into the next one. This is fun. This one's awesome as well. Yakuza Kiwami 2. So this is the second game, but on the Dragon engine, the one that is used even today for Judgment. And I think Yakuza... Oh, yeah, the man who raised his name. Way more advanced engine than before. Lots of physics. So high textures. 8 times, 16 times texture filtering, doesn't make a difference. Shadows on low because it takes a hit on performance. Screen space reflections, yes. SSAO. And there's SMAA and FXAA. Really, both of them don't look super good. So I'll show you unlock frame rates and then we'll lock it to 40. Because this engine is way more complex, especially in the physics department. As you could see in comparison to the previous games that I showed you. Ooh, hang on. Is that when we start a fight, it's not like a cutscene and we get trapped into a small part of the map. So yeah, this one is way more advanced, especially again for the physics and the visuals. And I love that I can do this and destroy stuff on the ground. Advanced physics. Let's take a cab to Kamurocho. Kamurocho. Oh, I'm not in Kamurocho. Okay. Oh yeah, I can take it. Because it's a bigger city, we'll see if we can maintain 40s. Again, it's a matter of locking it to 40 on the Steam Deck's system-wide thing. But again, it's the same city as before, but now it's way more physics heavy. So way more complex game than before. But I don't like that there's only FXAA and SNAA. Anyway, let's pause the game and I'll show you on handheld. In handheld, before we fight them, let's lock it to 40 Hz. Okay, so the screen is now 40 Hz. And we're locked to 40 FPS. Looks super smooth. It's probably going to drop into the upper 30s at times. Let's break a window or something. And let's fight inside a restaurant. See, all these objects can be picked up. So in comparison to Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 1, it's way more complex. When you're indoors though, you drop frames. Maybe with the amount of glass. There we go. So yeah, not a perfectly optimized game. But considering what it does, I think it's pretty impressive. Yeah, it maybe has to do with the CPU even. You found a key. Okay. So maybe if you want to, I mean, the game has lots of jagged edges. The aliasing is not treated properly. I mean, again, only FXAA and SNAA. I wish we had some sort of TAA solution. But if you want to be closer to 40, or you either lock it to 30, or you can lower the resolution scale. Let's put it at 80%. Which is normal linear upscaling. It looks blurrier, but you get way closer to 40. So yeah, it's like not having glasses, but the game still looks good, don't get me wrong. It's not as sharp in general. You lose 20% of the pixels. So that means solid 40s across the board. Some stutters every once in a while because open world. And yeah, when you get inside a store, you don't get as many drops as before. See? Lock 40s. So if you don't mind dropping to 80% resolution scale, you should be good to go. I mean, everything here is destructible. I mean, look at this. Be patient. See? I mean, if there's enemies chasing me, we can go inside the store and wreak havoc. Anyway, I think I showed you enough. Let's jump into the next one. Yakuza 3. This one was remastered, but it's the same as the PS3 version in that regard. Unfortunately, we only have 30 or 60, so if you have an OLED Steam Deck, you have to play at 60. On the advanced settings, I'm only going to lower the LOD to far and the shadows to high, just like on Yakuza 0. Good thing there is Fidelity FX sharpening, so no FSR, and there's SSAO. So I think there was some visual improvements over the PS3 version, but I'm not sure exactly how much was it improved. But as you can see, it's clearly a PlayStation 3 game. I mean, look at the movement. This one is the one that, yeah, one of the ones that wasn't remastered. This one, 4 and 5, they're still using the old engine, which is a previous iteration of the Yakuza 0 engine. These were, again, PlayStation 3 games. So it's very difficult when you're playing the second game on the Dragon engine, the newest one, and go back to this one. It feels so weird. It's jarring. But I love that that animation of Kiryu running. It's hilarious. Man. I do like that they attempt to do crowds here. It's pretty cool. Anyway, let's jump into handheld because I don't have more to say about this. Again, the shadows and draw distance were lowered to high because otherwise the game drops below 60. Seems to be an engine limitation on the CPU side. Uses one core apparently. So let's jump into portable mode. Now in portable mode, on the smaller screen it holds up better visually, at least in my opinion. But yeah. It's still a PlayStation 3 game through and through. So I played this one actually here now on PC for the first time. When I had a PlayStation 3, I played 4 and 5 actually, and the third one I couldn't find a disc, and it wasn't on the digital store because back when this game came out, I think digital full games being downloaded was quite rare, I think. So yeah, it's nice that I can finally play it, but it's so jarring after playing so much of the newer ones. It feels so weird. But if you want to get more of the story, it's not bad. You just got to get used to it. So yeah, easy 60 FPS, but you get less battery life than Yakuza 0. That is pretty funny. Man, the controls in comparison. I mean, you can still play just fine. It's a competent game. But after playing the newer ones, man, it's difficult to go back to this. Alright, let's jump into Yakuza 4. Yakuza 4, another PlayStation 3 game, so we're capped at 6 FPS. On graphics quality, we are playing same as before, shadows on high instead of ultra, LOD from maximum to far, just to have that 6 FPS be consistent. Again, older engine. And you might say, why we're not Kiryu? Well, before GTA 5, this was one of the first games that I saw with multiple protagonists in the story like that. I mean, there's probably other examples. But yeah, you have multiple protagonists on this one. And I remember when I got it physical on PlayStation 3. This was another game that I couldn't find digitally. And this one I finished it. It was awesome. After this one I basically bought Yakuza 5 right away. But again, if you played the previous games, it's going to feel jarring. Because it's an old PS3 game. Still fun, don't get me wrong. I think the controls aged well. The thing is, it's jarring to jump from Yakuza 0, then Yakuza Kiwami, then Kiwami 2, and then to this. But if you're playing Yakuza 3, you should be good. You should be already used to that. Anyway, let's jump into handheld now. Alright guys, welcome back. Now in handheld. Looks awesome. This one seems to use less battery than Yakuza 3, funnily enough. But yeah, it's an awesome game. It's very long as well, which that's not always the best if you hear that a game is super long. But Yakuza 5 is even longer, so it's kind of crazy. It's funny how long this took to get to the PC though. Rubber weapon would be a weapon to surpass Metal Gear. Defeat him. I leveled up by getting punched. Man, it's been so long. If Santiago from the 2010s, no, 2012 saw this, man, my life will be very different. Jesus. Akiyama. Reduce 2 items. So that's Yakuza 4. Runs awesome as the previous one. Of course, still a PlayStation 3 game at heart. But I think it still looks and plays pretty good. This is probably the one I had the most hours into, next to Yakuza 0. So yeah, let's jump into the next one. Yakuza 5, another PlayStation 3 port, 800p, FPS cap 30 or 60 unfortunately, and there's dynamic resolution for some reason. I wasn't expecting that, the other ones don't have it. And on the advanced settings, again like on the other PS3 games, 3 and 4, shadows on high, LOD on far, otherwise you're going to have some inconsistent frame times. So that's basically it. And let's get into it. And as you can see, lots of jagged edges. Again, we are on the PS3 era, so no TAA, only FXAA or CMAA. I'm not sure which one is better. And this is the very beginning of the game. But I remember on the PS3, it dropped frames like crazy. Especially looking into the distance. I think it was into the 20s. Which is classic PlayStation 3 performance, I think. So this is, I think, the longest one in the franchise, the longest story. This is the only one, well, this is the one that I didn't finish because I got tired. On the PlayStation 3, I played this one. Also, I think this one I got it digitally. And man, after the third character, you think the story is about to finish, and it continues. It's insane, the amount of content that this game has. I would say it's too much, even for the time. But if you want to know way more about the story... Alright guys, so that was a cutscene. Let's jump into handheld, because we're just walking around here. Alright guys, now in handheld, I was waiting for some fight or something. Apparently that's coming, so that's perfect. And again, the combat feels better than Yakuza 4. At least, well, I was playing with a different character on that one. But still, obviously an improvement over the previous game. Still, at heart, it's still a PlayStation 3 game. And sometimes you get those bars on the top and bottom of the screen. I'm not sure if that stays forever. Let me see one sec. Because it's clearly 16:9. Okay, so you have two options. You either have the letterbox with some art instead of black bars. So I'll probably prefer that, the artwork instead of the black bars. So this one is forced 16:9. Interesting. Come on, let's move. But it's 60 FPS through and through, so you should have a great experience. Again, if I played this on PS3 in the mid-20s, the frame rate dropping very, very often just by looking to the distance, well, 60s portably is night and day. So yeah. I mean, while it's probably not impressive due to the age of the game. To me, that I played this for years on PlayStation 3, it makes it hit different. I'm just probably getting old. Anyway, let's jump into the next one. Yakuza 6. This one is the first one where the Dragon engine was debuted, which is the engine they're still using nowadays, which is quite impressive. It was a PlayStation 4 exclusive for a while. So 800p on the advanced settings, same as on Kiwami 2, that uses the same engine. Low shadows, you can put them on medium if you want to, but you lose lots of performance. Reflections on, SSAO, render scale, we're going to play with that later. Yeah, that's basically it. We're going to target 40s, just like on the second game. That was a remake with this engine, but as you can see, the frame times are horrible. But if we look into 40, it should be good for a good amount of time. So yeah, the frame time on this one completely sucks. So I can probably tell you to lower the resolution scale, maybe to 90 or 85%. Oh, I can skip, thank God. So as I was saying, you probably want to lower the resolution scale. So we lock it to 40, we have some room to spare. Let me see if lowering the geometry does anything in this case. No, as you can see, the frame time is still bad. Even standing doing nothing. So we put this on medium. We can actually put shadows on medium now if we're lowering the resolution scale. Let's put it at 80%. On the smaller screen, in my opinion, it still holds up. So there we go. Medium everything, 80% resolution scale, which again, on the smaller screen looks pretty good. And now we got better. As you can see, the frame times improved. This part is closed. So yeah, it's a blurrier experience, but on the smaller screen, it's good. We're locking it to 40, of course. We're at 50s here, but I did this to have room to spare, basically. You can put it at 85% or 90% if you want to. But those stutters, man. But it kind of makes sense being the first iteration of the Dragon engine. Okay. So in the meantime, let me show you handheld. Because again, you don't have to take my word for it. On the smaller screen, it looks awesome. Even at 80% resolution. So, one sec. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, this game is forced 16:9. So again, we're locking it to 40. Because even on fighting, there's a lot of particles. And then physics. But at 40, it just feels very smooth. I never finished this game on the PC. I actually finished it yesterday, actually. I played it on PS4. I had a very, very advanced save. So I was like, okay, I have now a PS5. So I grabbed my save from 2018 and finished the game. It was awesome. There's no improvements on PS5, so it's 1080p, I think, with very jagged edges and locked to 30 FPS. So yeah, it's it's very refreshing to see this portable and so smooth. Again, on the PS5, since this is the PS4 backwards compatible version, it's locked to 30. This is a huge improvement. Again, I finished the game yesterday. At 40 feels so much better, it's ridiculous. But if you want to play it at 30, you can do so as well, if you don't want to lower the resolution. But as I said a million times already, on the smaller screen, it looks awesome. Okay, I can level up. Yeah. So completely worth a play, in my opinion, especially if you want to continue the story. And Kiryu being an older man. And as you can see, even on medium, the shadow draw distance is quite poor. But I think it still holds up. So let's jump into the next one. Like a Dragon, Ishin! So this one is an interesting one. It's a game that was locked behind the PlayStation 3. Now they remade it using Unreal Engine. As far as I know, it's the same game as before, but on Unreal. It has FSR, which is good to see, XeSS as well. And on the settings, we're using high textures, medium shadows, geometry on high. Maybe you need to lower this to medium. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. There's reflections, SSAO, and we're playing the demo because I don't own the game. But once you get to the city, people told me you drop frames. So maybe once you get to the city, put it on quality, FSR 2.1. But for now, here we go. So this is an interesting one because again, we are this is not actually anything to do with Yakuza. It's like a historic tale of the samurai, but with the Yakuza characters playing as the historic characters. And again, this game was locked behind the PlayStation 3. We could only play it with emulation. But now that we have the proper way to play it, it's a PC as well now. And it runs pretty well on Steam Deck. Weirdly enough, despite being Unreal, it's still locked to 16:9, which is annoying as heck. So Japanese. Anyway, before I continue, let's swap into handheld. Welcome back. So now on the smaller screen, it looks completely fine. Looks awesome. Again, we're on native resolution here, but if needed, you can use FSR 2.1. Especially once you get to the city. But if you play the Dragon Engine games like Yakuza Kiwami 2, Yakuza 6, even Like a Dragon, the combat Like a Dragon Gaiden, this one will feel outdated because, well, it's an old game in Unreal. Still, can be pretty enjoyable. I'm not into this sort of game though. But I'm happy that it's no longer locked on the PlayStation 3. So if you want to play it, there you go. There's even a demo, that's what I'm playing. Ooh. It's funny that you have guns. Just like that. Pull out a revolver, Kiryu. That's hilarious. Anyway, let's get into the next one. Yakuza Like a Dragon, another Dragon Engine game, 800p. And these are the settings. Basically low shadows, the same as on the other Dragon Engine games. Although on this one, if you want to lower the render scale, that's fine, to 80% and you should have 40 FPS. There's also multi-sampling, which helps a lot with the edges. The edges are pretty poor, even with TAA. And as you can see, let's enable the FPS counter. The frame times are horrible, like on Yakuza 6. So my advice on this one is to lock it either to 30 or 40. In this case, since it's a turn-based game, It's not a real-time fighter like the other ones. I think it's fine to play it at 30. Shouldn't be a big deal. So, he's calling someone. So yeah, my advice for this one is to lock it to 30. And you should be good. I mean, you're just mashing a button every once in a while. Not my style. I haven't played more of this game because I don't enjoy this style of combat personally. I mean, I'd rather fight on my own, like on the previous games. So, let's swap the settings as I told you a second ago. So we look into 30 from here. Oh, never mind. The frame times of the 30 FPS gap are horrible. Advanced settings, medium shadows, medium geometry. Maybe you can push it a little bit further if you want to. We enable multi-sampling. And now you go into this menu and you look into 30. Not perfect, but there we go. Turn-based game should be fine. Let me show you on the smaller screen. Alright guys, I'm back. Portable mode, lock to 30. You get slightly better visuals. And since again this is turn-based, I mean, I don't feel that it's a big issue to have 30s. And you avoid most of the stutter that I showed you at the beginning. So yeah, you can play this game on the Steam Deck. Pretty good. Not my style, but I saw a lot of fanfare for this game. It's funny to see the city in such a high fidelity. But man, I cannot take this turn-based thing. It just bores me so much, especially in the Yakuza franchise. But I love that they still try, which is good. Okay. So that's Yakuza Like a Dragon. Let's jump into the next one, shall we? And finally, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who raised his name. That's a long name. So 800p, same engine, Dragon engine. Advanced settings, basically medium settings. And this game has FSR, even FSR 3 with frame generation, but frame generation doesn't seem to be working on the Steam Deck. Let me show you very quickly that. So if you look at the top left, we got 58 FPS. And with frame generation, instead of 58, remember that number, we get 58 or 59. So it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Unfortunately, it would be nice to have it for Steam Deck OLED owners, especially. So let's turn that off. And let's do balance. You know what, instead of balance, let's keep it on quality. Quality looks pretty good. And sharpness at 1.0. And same settings as before. So this is the very beginning of the game. So I don't know how the rest of the game will fare, but here we are at more than 50 FPS. Let me attack me. Thank you. While holding a fighting stance. Hold the ground and dodge. Okay, there we go. Looks a little bit blurry with FSR actually. Oh yeah, the Spider-Man thing that Kiryu has in this game. It's pretty funny. Oh, press square, then hold. There we go. Yeah, Kiryu's now Spider-Man. Okay, I'll skip ahead to see if we get into an open world part that is more demanding. Alright guys, go to a more demanding stage. There's fire, there's more enemies. So this should push the engine further. And what I said about the 50 FPS gap, probably 40s makes more sense. Like on the other Dragon Engine games. So yeah, pretty good. And we have FSR quality, so there is a lower resolution, but now at least it's an upscaling technique, not a linear thing. Like on the other games that didn't have FSR, and I had to lower the resolution scale in a linear fashion. Kiryu is Spider-Man. Sorry, not Kiryu, Giorgio. Kiryu doesn't exist. Alright, let's jump into handheld now. Welcome back, now in handheld. Let's get close to the fire. Yep, there we go. It drops. So, go into this menu, a classic one, and go to 40 Hz. And there we go. Should be consistently 40 Hz. 40 FPS. If it's not, lower FSR to balanced, but I don't think that's necessary. Especially considering how well the other Dragon Engine games played. But I did it! All the Yakuza games that are on PC work very well on Steam Deck. The ones that are on the Dragon Engine, which is the most advanced one, like Yakuza 6, Kiwami 2, Like a Dragon, like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Those run at 40, the other ones run at 60, like Yakuza 0, Kiwami 1, 3, 4, 5. And well, in a couple weeks we're going to get Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which when I got to the menu, the main menu of this game, it says that you can play a trial of Infinite Wealth. So it's clearly the same engine, no surprises there. So I'm expecting similar performance to this. So if you get Infinite Wealth, make sure to put the same settings as I showed you in this game. But 40s should be a good target, just like the other Dragon Engine games. But this one looks awesome, visually speaking. I think they really refined how the Dragon Engine renders. So no more aliasing everywhere, like in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami. And I want to play this one. It's going to be super cool, I'm pretty sure. There we go. Yeah, it looks so good. I'm blown away. I mean, it's awesome to see the Dragon Engine with TAA. I mean, the edges were so trash before, aliasing everywhere, as I said. So let's fight. Lots of particles, here we go. Such an awesome looking game with all the particles and effects and stuff. Yeah, they did a great job with this one, definitely. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, you can play all of them. The Dragon Engine games, play them at 40. The non-Dragon Engine games, play them at 60. And you should be good to go. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did playing the entire franchise. It's awesome to have them on Steam Deck. I'm probably going to finish Yakuza 5, since that's the one that I have pending, and Yakuza 3. and then I'll probably play this one. So thank you for watching, and I'll see ya next time. Bye guys. Giorgio and Kiryu say thanks. Man, this is so cool. Let me try effects once more, and I'll finish the video. Oh man. I did it! See you next time.